Things just kind of went from bad to worse. Being right in the middle of that moment, and thousands of cancer patients are diagnosed every day. They feel like their life's over. It feels like a death sentence. And that's exactly what I was thinking.
Now imagine being told you had stage 3 colon cancer. It's a gut-wrenching diagnosis I've told many of my patients, and that's exactly what happened to my next guest. He, however, was very young, only 26 years of age, when he faced the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths in the United States. When Chris had surgery, a golf ball-sized tumor was removed, and doctors told him he needed 9 to 12 months of chemotherapy as the cancer had spread to his lymph nodes. But instead of chemo, Chris chose the route of nutrition and natural therapies to heal himself. Now, here to share his story is Chris Ford. Chris, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, 26 years of age, pretty young to be told you have colon cancer. Tell me, it's probably maybe hard to remember, but the moment you got that diagnosis, what did you feel like and what went through your mind?
I was actually the youngest patient that my doctor had ever seen with colon cancer.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
And the moment that I found out, I had just come out from anesthesia because I'd had a colonoscopy. So it felt like a dream. I wasn't even fully conscious when they were telling me that they found this tumor.
Why'd you have the colonoscopy to begin with, by the way?
Because I had abdominal pain for somewhere between 6 to 9 months.
Wow.
This kind of weird pain that I thought would go away, and it didn't. It just got a little worse and worse over time. And so eventually it was like, well, you're 26, we can do a colonoscopy, maybe we'll find something. They found the tumor.
Wow. And did you, I mean, everybody thinks when they're told they have a tumor, did they tell you it was cancer right away or no?
They said, you've got this tumor, we're going to biopsy it, and called me the next day and said, you've got cancer.
And when you got that diagnosis of cancer, what went through your mind then?
I think you just can't believe it, right? You just cannot believe.
Can't be me, right?
Yeah, this can't be me. This cannot be my life. This was not in the plan, and everything just comes to a grinding halt. And there's so much fear and anxiety that come with a cancer diagnosis that it's not uncommon for patients to suffer from PTSD.
Sure.
After just from the diagnosis.
And you were afraid you're going to die, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're thinking, how much time do I have left? Is this going to kill me? Am I going to, I'm 26. I didn't have any kids. I'd been married for 2 years. Like, am I going to even have kids or be a dad? Or like, what does the future hold?
And so tell us what happened after that. You saw the doctor and they did surgery, did they?
Yeah, I was a typical cancer patient. I didn't know anything about cancer. I'd never seen anyone go through it personally. And they just said, look, we got to get you into surgery right away. You got to get this thing out of you before it spreads and kills you. And so I was just like, okay. And had surgery about a week later. They took out the tumor and some lymph nodes. And when I woke up, they said, it's worse than we thought. You're metastatic. We were hoping it would be stage 2, you're stage 3C. And you need 9 to 12 months of chemotherapy. And things just kind of went from bad to worse, and it was like, oh man.
Like, this is the worst nightmare I've ever had.
Yeah, and being right in the middle of that moment, and thousands of cancer patients are diagnosed every day, and they're right in the middle of this despair, and they feel like their life's over. It feels like a death sentence, and that's exactly what I was thinking. And there was a few weird things that happened when I was in the hospital that made me think a little differently. The first thing was the very first meal that they served me after cutting out a third of my large intestine was a sloppy Joe.
Wow.
And I'd always heard hospital food was bad.
But this is really bad.
I mean, the sloppy Joe, you can't even get a sloppy Joe in a restaurant.
Right.
Right?
Anymore, right.
Yeah, I mean, you can get it, like if you're in prison,
Yeah, probably.
Summer camp maybe,
right,
or maybe if you're in the military.
Hospital. After surgery.
Or the hospital, after cancer surgery. And like, I couldn't believe that they were serving this to me or to any sick person. And so, that kind of got my wheels turning about like, why is there such a disconnect between nutrition and healthcare and medicine? And the other thing that happened was the day they were gonna let me go home, the surgeon came in and we were talking about sort of the next steps, and I said, hey, is there any food I need to avoid? Because I don't know, I mean, they just cut my guts open, right? Like everything you eat goes through there. And he was like, nah, just don't lift anything heavier than a beer.
That's all he gave you?
That was it. That was all the nutritional advice I got.
And so you decided against the chemotherapy, clearly. Tell me how you came to that decision, how scary that was, because Listen, they're telling you that this could kill you, and you made the decision not to do chemotherapy, which could, even be worse, meaning that you could accelerate your death.
Yeah.
I mean, how scary is that to make that decision? How much guts does it take to make that decision, and how'd you make it?
The idea of, poisoning my way back to health didn't make sense. Now, for some people, maybe it does, but to me at that time, I just couldn't imagine myself as a chemo patient, and I had this really deep fear and instinctive gut sort of feeling that it was not going to go well for me if I did chemotherapy. And but I didn't know what else to do, and my wife and I prayed about it, and a couple days after, I just said, God, I don't help. Like, this doesn't feel right. I don't know what to do. I came across some information. I found out about this guy who had healed his own colon cancer, without surgery, by radically changing his diet and his life. And I was like, this is it. Like, this is the answer to my prayer. And as crazy as it sounded, something about it made sense to me, and I was excited about it.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Partha Nandi, and if you enjoyed that video, you're going to love the next one. It's full of incredible information to help you start your health hero journey.